I've been talking about the great, awesome Doraemon for quite a while now, and so I'd like to read out some more backstory on who he is for those who don't actually know who he is, because I've spoken kind of offhand, off the top of my head, essentially, over who Doraemon is, but I'd like to read out what the Free Encyclopedia has to say about Doraemon. For those of you who don't know who Doraemon is, you probably haven't been watching these particular videos, although now I'll give you a bit of insight, perhaps. Well, via what other people have written. Doraemon is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Fujiko F. Fujio. The manga was first serialized in December 1969. Its chapters were collected in 45 tankobon volumes published by Shogakukan from 1974 to 1996. The story revolves around an earless robotic cat named Doraemon, who travels back in time from the 22nd century to aid a boy named Nobita Nobi. The manga spawned a media franchise. 3 anime TV series have been adapted in 1973, 1979, and 2005. Additionally, Shin-Ei Animation has produced over 40 animated films, including 2 3D computer animated films, all of which are distributed by Toho. Various types of merchandise and media have been developed, including soundtrack albums, video games, and musicals. The manga series was licensed for an English language release in North America via Amazon Kindle by a collaboration of Fujiko F. Fujio Pro with Voyager Japan and Alt Japan Co. Limited. The anime series was licensed by Disney for an English language release in North America in 2014 and LUK International in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. Doraemon was well received by critics and became a hit in many Asian countries. It won numerous awards, including the Japan Cartoonist Association Award in 1973 and 1994, the Shogakukan Manga Award for Children's Manga in 1982, and the Tezuka Osamu Cultural Prize in 1997. By 2019, it has sold over 250 million copies worldwide, becoming one of the best-selling manga series in history. The Doraemon character has been viewed as a Japanese cultural icon and was appointed as the first anime ambassador in 2008 by the country's foreign ministry. Doraemon is written and illustrated by Fujiko F. Fujio, the pen name of Japanese manga artist Hiroshi Fujimoto. According to Fujio, it was originally conceived following a series of free events. When searching for ideas for a new manga, he wished a machine existed that would come up with ideas for him. He tripped over his daughter's toy and heard cats fighting in his neighborhood. To set up the plot and characters, he inspired some elements from his earlier manga series, Obaki no Kyutaro, which involve an obake living with humans with a similar formula. An obake, they're considered preternatural creatures in Japanese folklore. Literally, the term means a thing that changes, referring to a state of transformation or shape-shifting. There we go. Fujio said that the idea for Doraemon came after an accumulation of trial and error, during which he finally found the most suitable style of manga to him. Initially, the series achieved little success as Gekiga was well known at the time. Gekiga is a Japanese term which refers to comic books that were intended for a more adult audience with mature themes and what have you. It achieved little success as Gekiga was well known at the time and only became a hit after its adaptation into an anime TV series and multiple feature films. Doraemon is mainly aimed at children, so Fujio chose to create the character with a simple graphic style based on shapes such as circles and ellipses. He used the same sequences of cartoons with regularity and continuity to enhance the reader's ease of understanding. In addition, blue, a characteristic color of Doraemon, was chosen as the main color in magazine publications, which used to have a yellow cover and red title. Set in Tokyo, the manga reflected parts of Japan's society such as the class system and the ideal of Japanese childhood. Problems, if occur, were resolved in a way so as to not rely on violence and eroticism, and the stories were integrated with the concept of environmentalism. The manga also insisted on the ethical values of integrity, perseverance, courage, family, and respect. In order to underline the crucial role of the young generation in society, the manga's creator chose to have the act carried out in a children's domain, where young people can live with happiness, freedom, and power without adults' interference. Asaya S. Shiraishi noted, the existence of the domain helped Doraemon to have a strong appeal in various Asian countries. During Doraemon's development, Fujio did not express a change in characters. He said, when a manga hero becomes a success, the manga suddenly stops being interesting. So the hero has to be like the stripes on a barber pole. He seems to keep moving upward, but actually he stays in the same place. According to Zensho Ito, Fujio's former student, the length of time in the universe is one of the ideas that inspired Fujio to make Doraemon. Frequently displayed in its stories is Nobita's desire to control time, There exist time-controlled gadgets that he uses to satisfy that desire, particularly the time machine which lies in his desk drawer. Unlike Western works on science fiction, the manga did not explain the theory nor the applied technology behind these tools, but instead focusing on how the characters exploit their advantages, making it more children-friendly. Doraemon is considered one of the best-known manga of all time, a true Japanese cultural icon, and an essential part of family life of the Japanese post-war generation. Akihiro Motoyama observed that mothers who watched the movies when they were children are now taking their own children to see them. It was also commercially successful. Over 108 million books were sold in Japan by 1996. The 1979 and 2005 anime series also achieved high ratings on television. With the film Doraemon Nobita's Secret Gadget Museum, the Doraemon anime film series reached 100 million tickets sold at the Japanese box office, surpassing Godzilla as the highest-grossing film franchise in Japan. By 2015, it had sold over 103 million tickets and was the largest franchise by numbers of admissions in the country. Doraemon was also a hit in Asia in general, and was considered one of the typical cases of Japanese soft power, although it was published without a license in some countries. The anime television series is available in over 60 countries, and reportedly getting high ratings in at least 30 countries. However, Doraemon was less successful in Western countries because it was viewed as a children-only series, and there were some tight restrictions about publishing manga and broadcasting anime series there. The manga has sold over 170 million copies worldwide by 2012 and 250 million by 2019. Estimates show that Doraemon has generated at least more than $4.3 billion in merchandise sales by 2019 and over $1.7 billion from anime feature films by 2020, making it one of the highest-grossing media franchises of all time. Outside Japan, Doraemon achieved particular success in Vietnam, with a record-breaking 40 million copies sold by 2006. The manga was first launched there in 1992 by Kim Dong Publishing House, but the copyright from Shogakukan was not fully acquired until 1996. In 1993, the Vietnamese Ministry of Culture considered the manga's publication to be an impactful event for the improvement of children, youth, and adults' likings. Doraemon is a comprehensively educational book series which has the effect of developing children's personality. Doraemon is now a cultural icon in Vietnam, having featured in many cultural events. Doraemon received favourable reviews. Mark Schilling wrote, "For kids whose lives are often so regulated, Doraemon represents a welcome breath of freedom and a glimpse of a funnier, friendlier world where all dreams, even foolish ones, can come true." Italian writer Massimo Nicora wrote that the manga can be interpreted as a type of book that criticizes with irony the omnipotence of science that pretends to solve every problem with its tools, alluding to the fact that Doraemon's gadgets often end up making the problems even worse than they initially were, more than anything else. He added that it represents the metaphor of the childish imagination, which always manages to find the most bizarre and original solutions in a continuous game of transformation of reality. Some critics considered that Nobita's flawed personality and modest background is different from the special or extraordinary characteristics usually seen in other typical anime and manga protagonists. This portrayal has been seen as reasons of its appeal as well as the contrary, especially in the United States. According to the Italian parents movement, Moij, in the manga, the lazy Nobita does not know any kind of appreciable evolution, though there are still good points including the criticism of bullying, the goodness that transpires from the little Nobita, and the positive figure of Shizuka. In his 2000 article, Leo Ching explained that the success of Doraemon in Asia was because it had reflected the Asian values such as imagination and responsibility, the same reason that Oshin, another Japanese cultural export, became well known there. On the other hand, according to an analysis by Anne Allison, professor of cultural anthropology at Duke University, the strong point of it was not the variety of the gadgets, but the relationship between Doraemon and Nobita, which was particularly appreciated. Jason Thompson praised the silly situations and old-fashioned simple artwork, with Doraemon's expression and comments adding to the surrounding elementary school mischief. On the manga's 50th anniversary, an op-ed published on Asahi Shimbun stated that the manga has already become a contemporary classic. And we'll end it here, everyone. Doraemon. I don't think he will ever not be awesome.